Good morning, Sherry. Good morning, Billy Jack. We're about to get this party started. Give me about 30 seconds.
Time for the weekly sports page with the dynamic David Coleman. Stay tuned for thrills, chills, and yes, spills. Oh yeah, and a whole lot of other great stuff. Call 855-525-5683. Tweet your questions at Dynamic Sports PA or Facebook. Drop a line on Dynamic Weekly Sports Show. Sit back, relax, and groove while Dynamic drops sports in your ear hole.
Boom! Good morning. Hey, how y'all doing? Welcome to the Weekly Sports Magazine. Hey, Miss Leela, how you doing, girlfriend? I hope you're doing well. Melvin, all you folks that have joined the show already, appreciate you. Got a lot of stuff to talk about today. It is the Weekly Sports Magazine on joynetradio.com. I'm here every Saturday morning, 8 to 10 a.m., playing the best old school bumper music, and of course, we doing sports up in here in this scound booger. Yeah, I did say scound booger. Y'all don't know nothing about that there, you know what I'm saying? Trying to get everything organized. You know, we've been helter-skelter a little bit here at the station the last couple of weeks because we are transitioning to some new software. And since I'm the computer nut around here, I'm responsible for teaching everybody how it works. So I'm still learning myself. But it's cool. Enjoying myself. There are a couple of ways you can catch the show now. We do stream live on YouTube, the Weekly Sports Magazine. We do copy that link over to Twitter, so you can catch the feed on Twitter. And it is simply at Weekly Sports Mag. And then, of course, we stream live on Facebook. And last but not least, you can go to joynetradio.com is where the main place you need to go. Because when we play audio, because we are going to play audio this morning, you can download the Joynet Radio app and get all that information that you need, okay? 855-525 5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with me if you want to talk to me. Okay? And I certainly hope you want to talk to me. We got a lot of things to talk about today, and I'm fixing up some stuff over here so I can. Yeah, there we go. All right. So before we do anything, y'all know what we do every Saturday morning. We speak to everybody, right? So I've been all over the country. I've got friends all over the country. I got people who listen from all over the country. And in fact, Bob Mueller, who does sports in Nashville, news in Nashville, he's listening. I know y'all had a great weekend, and it's still going on as it relates to the NFL draft. So good morning, Nash Vegas. Or should I call you Cash Vegas? In fact, my son will be up there this weekend. I'm headed in that direction next week because my son is in town from the coast, or I should say from the islands. So I'm going to visit him while he's reminiscing back in his college days. But anyway, hey, Nashville. And since I'm up there, what's up, Murfreesboro? What's up, my folks over at Tennessee State University? No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You know, Teresa, Phillips, all the great people over there, Howard Gentry Jr. Good morning and welcome to the Weekly Sports Magazine. By the way, shout out to Eddie George, who sported the Steve McNair jersey yesterday for the Titans. Shout out for you, my brother. Appreciate it. Oh, let's see, what do we know? Oh, I'm sorry. Hey, Arkansas. Hey, Lone Oak. How y'all doing? Welcome to the Weekly Sports Magazine. I hope you're enjoying the show. We're about to get this party started. I'm getting everything set up. But you know, I'm from the country, so I have to speak to everybody before I start getting down with the get down. You know what I'm saying, Brown? I'm having fun today. So let me speak to everybody. Miss Leela in Lone Oak, Arkansas. Good morning and welcome to the Weekly Sports Magazine. Okay? Welcome to the Weekly Sports Magazine. Jacksonville, good morning and welcome to the Weekly Sports Magazine. Okay? Conway, good morning. Welcome to the Weekly Sports Magazine. Sweet Home in Wrightsville. Morning, y'all. How y'all doing? Welcome to the Weekly Sports Magazine. North Little Rock, welcome to the Weekly Sports Magazine. And forget about the East End, the West End, and the South End, right smack dab here in Little Rock. And all my folks here in Little Rock, welcome to the Weekly Sports Magazine. Shout out to all the Little Rock Central graduates. And by the way, I'm going to tell you about my experience at the track meet last night, too. First time I've been to Scott Field in 40 years. Got to tell you about that. Shout out to Sierra Coleman in Chicago, Illinois. Welcome to the Weekly Sports Magazine. I'm glad you were able to make it. Got a lot of stuff to talk about today. Okay. Oh, by the way, Cameo, I'm thinking we're going to have Cameo as our special guest. Okay? I'm thinking we're going to have Cameo as our special guest. I'm thinking we're going to have Cameo as our special guest today. Word up. Yeah, okay. So, hey, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll see what we can do about this thing here. We're about to get this party started, man. Are y'all ready? It's the Weekly Sports Magazine. I am Dynamic Dave on JoyNetRadio.com.
offices of James F. Swindoll provides our clients the personal care and attention that larger law firms cannot offer. Our experienced attorneys have brought hundreds of cases to verdict in state and federal court and recovered millions for our clients. If you or a loved one have been injured or have property wrongfully damaged, we may be able to help. Do not hesitate to contact our firm anytime for a free attorney consultation. Call 1-800-848-1290. That's 1-800-848-1290. Or email inquiries at arkansas-personal-injury.com. Our law offices are centrally located at 212 Center Street in Little Rock. That's the law offices of James F. Swindoll, personal injury and products liability attorney serving Arkansas since 1977.
Fill your home for the holidays with Bedrock Mattress and More. Bundle and save for every room in your home. Package deals just in time for the holidays. Our first bundle starting at $5.98. Perfect for a dorm room. Bundle deal 2, only $15.99. Enough to fill your first apartment. And fill your home with our third bundle starting at only $24.99. Come get these deals while they last. Special pricing going on now through the end of the year.
All right, we ready. We ready.
Holiday season with something new from Bedrock Mattress and More.
Hey, y'all hashtag Russell Wilson for me. Okay? Will y'all do that?
I'm attorney Theodore Thompson from the Thompson Law Firm, and I want to help with your legal matters. Whether it's criminal defense, bankruptcy, personal injury, or family law, I want to help you. I can be reached at 501-503-5095. Don't face your legal issues alone. You need an attorney whose primary objective is to provide you with the best legal representation. Our office address is 415 North McKinley, Suite 710 in Little Rock. I'm attorney Theodore Thompson, and I want to provide you with the best legal representation.
Get ready as Love Entertainment presents the 90s Adult Skate Night. Sunday, April 28th, starting at 7 p.m. We'll see you at Skate World at Babyville Cutoff. Get ready for some old school fun. We're throwing back to the 90s with music by DJ Deja Blue. Come dress in your 90s look and you could be one of 3 grand prize winners. Calling all skaters, sororities, fraternities. You need to come out for some old school fun. This is for the grown and can hold their own. April 28th, Skate World, Babyville Cutoff. Tickets only $10.
Hi, this is Alvin from Habibi's 4317 East Broadway in North Little Rock. We still have the green top at your very next stop. The same great service, but more on it. Give us a call, 501-663-1553 or 664-2992, or call our toll-free number, 1-877-HABIBI-1. Diapers, pull-ups, hospital beds, wheelchairs, Simply Fit, diabetic supplies, underpads, and more. Your durable medical supply center.
Join Dynamic Dave Coleman on the weekly sports magazine right here on JoyNetRadio.com.
Yeah. Joining us this morning is Cameo. You know, we play the best old school bumper music in the universe. Shaking your pants a little bit this morning. Appreciate everybody joining me on the weekly sports magazine. We're here every Saturday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. right here on JoyNetRadio.com. Make sure you go out and download the JoyNet Radio app. Just go out to JoyNetRadio.com. That way you can carry us everywhere you go. So if you need some inspiration, some motivation, or information, we got it right here on the network. That's how we do it. Now, got a lot of stuff to talk about, of course. The big news over the weekend, of course. I'm not going to get into the NFL draft too much, but it did happen in my favorite city, Nashville, Tennessee, the city that was my home for 15 years. I like to say I went to Nashville to get rich and famous. I didn't get rich, and I got a little famous, and that's about all I got. We're certainly going to talk a little bit about the NBA. I have some comments about Kevin Durant. He's certainly putting up some great points. But can he go somewhere and lead somebody else to win? We're going to talk about Russell Westbrook this morning, too, because clearly numbers mean nothing if you don't win championships. Okay? And are you a leader? We're going to get into that as well. Shout out to the people of Nashville. They turned out 100,000 strong. I mean, Lower Broad was just packed with all kinds of people for the draft yesterday. We're going to talk a little bit about Nick Bosa and his hypocrisy and the irony of him being drafted by the San Francisco 49ers. Karma is a mother. And Nick Bosa is about to get his comeuppance. We got a lot of stuff like that as well. Also, I am going to talk a little bit about the Cardinals, and I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and start it off with the draft. The draft began Thursday night. The big news was that, the news wasn't big, but it's certainly shocking to most regular football people that the Cardinals would draft Josh Rosen last year at the number 10 pick, and then they turn around and trade him because they bring in a college coach who was under 500. So I just have to do this because you would rather hire a under 500 coach as opposed to hire a black coach. And your argument is, oh well, you know, his offense is so dynamic. Now check these numbers out here. This is who the Cardinals hired. Cliff Kingsbury went 3-22 versus ranked teams and 4-31 versus Big 12 teams. Y'all get that, right? He was 3-22 against ranked teams and 4-31 against Big 12 teams. Now, Big 12 is not known as a great college football conference. So this is the guy that the Cardinals, hired as their head football coach. He was he was a loser in college. Now, what makes you think that he can go to the pros and become a winner? I'm not a fan of the Cardinals. I never have been because they're ran by the Bidwells. The Bidwells are known to be racist for a long time. And I hope you get your comeuppance. Because now they've drafted Kyler Murray, you know, the 5'8" quarterback. I know they say he's 5'9". And here's what really amazes me. Well, you know, he could be another Russell Wilson. Based on what I'm going to say about Russell Wilson this morning, I hope not. So they draft Kyler Murray to run a college offense that was under 500, that did not have a winning record. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You see what I just did there? I just lost it from laughter. Woo, Lord have mercy. Okay, let me just read some of this stuff about Cliff Kingsbury, okay? Cliff Kingsbury was one of the most sought-after offensive minds in football this past season. Why? Why? With the NFL game quickly shifting to high-powered college-style offenses, a guy like that would be a great asset to a young quarterback and an offensive coordinator, as an offensive coordinator and quarterback's coach. He would. But as an NFL head coach, the Arizona Cardinals thought so, and in the blink of an eye hired Kingsbury as their guy. He might have been an offensive genius, but that didn't necessarily translate into a great head coaching record against the cream of the crop in NCAA ranks. While at Texas Tech from 2013 to 2018, Kingsbury struggled a great deal in that regard. Kingsbury went 3-22 versus ranked teams and 4-31 versus Big 12 opponents with a winning record. And now he's the head coach in the NFL. Alex Loeb said, give that man's agent a raise, no doubt about it. Those are some of Kirk Cousins-like stats right here. In 6 years at Texas Tech, Kingsbury only beat 4 Big 12 teams with a winning record. even though he had a top 25 offense every year. His defense ranked last or near last in every season. In 2015 and 16, Texas Tech finished second and fifth in scoring offense in the entire country, while also finishing 125th and 28th in scoring defense. That's how you get crushed against the nation's best. Kingsbury record as head coach is a shaky 35 and 40 overall, just going 19 and 35 in Big 12 play. This is the head coach for the St. Louis Cardinals. I'm sorry, I'm old school. This is a head coach for the Arizona Cardinals. You just can't make this stuff up. You just can't make this stuff up. Are you telling me that there are not coaches who are black, who have played in the NFL, who are coaching in the NFL right now? Let me do this, okay? Black NFL coaches. Because we know, let's see if we can bring him up. Mike Tomlin is there. Let's see, we've certainly got some assistants. It ain't many that's head coaches right now. We know Marvin is gone, Hugh Jackson is gone, Todd Bowles is gone, Jim Caldwell is gone. So Mike Tomlin, is he the only black coach in the NFL now? And Anthony Lynn, by the way, who was at Los Angeles, the Chargers. But I'm just saying, let me pull up assistant head coaches, black assistant coaches, NFL. Let's see. So SB Nation comes up, and I'm just quickly doing a quick query here. Steve Wilkes. Well, he was fired last year, so this is an old article. Ain't many of us in there, man. Terry Robisky has been around for a long time. No wonder I don't follow the NFL the way I used to. Marquand Manuel. He's an assistant for the Falcons. Terrell Austin, defensive coordinator for the Lions. Well, I guess that answers my question. No wonder they went and hired Cliff Kingsbury. Obviously, I'm being facetious. That's one of the worst hires. It's tantamount to the draft that the Giants did when they drafted that Jones kid. What were they thinking? So let me quickly go over some of the draft. I'll give you the top, the first round, and then we'll basically be through with the NFL this morning. Okay, I don't, y'all know how I am. I haven't given up the ghost as it relates how they've treated Colin Kaepernick. Now we're going to talk about the NFL, and we're going to talk about Nick Bosa here in a little bit as well, because I think that's important for us to understand. So here's the first pick, Kyler Murray. We've talked about that. Nick the Racist Bosa is the number 2 pick, and he's going to San Francisco. Oh, the irony of that. Quinnen Williams, number 3 to the Jets. Cleveland Farrell, number 4 to the Raiders. Devin White. I'm not sure why the Raiders didn't get Devin White as opposed to Cleveland Farrell, but I'm just asking for an old Raider fan. Devin White to Tampa Bay at number 5. Daniel Jones to New York at number 6. Now, here's what boggles my mind, and I think a lot of people. Dwayne Haskins, I think everybody agrees that Dwayne Haskins is the best quarterback in this draft. The Giants needed a quarterback, but they go and draft Daniel Jones, and here's the argument that they're making, is that Daniel Jones played under David Cutcliffe, who coached Peyton Manning and Eli Manning. Peyton when he was at Tennessee, and Eli when he was at Ole Miss. So now they're saying that because he coached them, Daniel Jones, and by the way, Daniel Jones knows Eli, that's why they drafted him. Huh? Let me just give you what one of the pundits said about this draft. I wanted to give this an F. I like Daniel Jones, but I don't like him in this spot. They must have gotten intelligence that another team was going to take him before 17. Really? Yeah, whatever. Josh Allen, number 7 for Jacksonville. TJ Hawkinson from Iowa is number 8 to Detroit. Ed Oliver, number 9 to Buffalo, a defensive lineman. Number 10, Devin Bush. In fact, Pittsburgh traded up to get Devin Bush, a linebacker from Michigan, at number 10. Number 11, Jonah Williams. Now, if you notice, the majority of these draft picks in the top 10 are defensive players. Okay? Rashawn Gary from Michigan, number 12. Christian Wilkins, number 13, defensive lineman from Clemson. Chris Lindstrom, the offensive lineman to Atlanta. Dwayne Haskins falls to the Washington racial slurs. I hate he's going there, but hey, I think he's the best quarterback. I think this was a great pickup by Washington. They didn't have to do anything to move up, anything. He fell in their lap. He's going to the Washington racial slurs. That's what I call them. Brian Burns, he's going number 16 to the Panthers. Dexter Lawrence, number 17 to the Giants. Garrett Bradbury, I can't even talk now. Garrett Bradbury, offensive lineman to the Vikings at number 18. Jeffrey Simmons, number 19 from Mississippi State. This was a young man who should have been drafted earlier, but had some issues of domestic violence, was picked up by the Titans. Amy Strunk Adams, who is the current majority owner for the Titans, gave him a welcoming, and this young man was crying in the press conference, by the way. Noah Fant, tight end from Iowa, he goes to the Broncos. Darnell Savage, a safety, goes to Green Bay, number 21. Andre Dillard, number 22, offensive lineman, he goes to Philadelphia. Titus Howard, an offensive lineman, to the Texans at number 3. Josh Jacobs, the big running back from Oakland, from Bama, goes to Oakland. Marquise Brown, the wide receiver from Oklahoma, he goes to the Ravens. Montez Sweat at number 26. He goes to the Washington racial slurs. Jonathan Abram, safety from Mississippi State, at number 27 for the Raiders. Number 28, Jerry Tillery, a defensive lineman from Notre Dame, goes to the Chargers. L.J. Collier, TCU, he's a defensive lineman he goes to Seattle. And DeAndre Baker, he goes to New York at number 30. Caleb McGarry to Atlanta at 31. And N'Keal Harry, number 32, wide receiver to the Patriots. Now, I'm just curious. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is interesting. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So 17 out of the first 32 picks went to defensive linemen or defensive safeties. In other words, 17 out of the first 32 picks went on the defensive side of the ball. What does that tell you? Okay. Now, DK Metcalf? Now, here's what shocked me about this. The guy who I would have probably gotten in at least high round 2, and I was hoping that the Raiders would pick him up. And maybe there's something going on with DK Metcalf that we don't know about. But the Seattle Seahawks picked him up. Okay. I mean, Julio Jones, I don't know. I think that's a good pickup for them. All right, so those are my observations on the NFL draft. There's not many. I don't really care. I am a Raider fan, but I'm not going to even break down their pick the way a lot of people are doing. But I just want to bring that up. There are a couple of things I want to talk about here. As we look at the NFL, and since we are on the NFL, let's stick with that real fast. First, I want to talk a little bit, and if you listen to yesterday's show, Black Focus, I spent an entire hour going in on Russell Wilson. So I'm not going to spend that much time on him this morning. But yesterday I spent an entire hour going in on why I felt like Russell Wilson is a piece of crap. And I know y'all out there, some of you all love Russell Wilson. I'm a big fan of his simply because he's a black quarterback. But quite often, we have to be willing to call people out when they are in the wrong. And Russell Wilson is in the wrong. All right? Now, I try not to mix entertainment and pop culture with my shows. But every now and then, there are issues that come up in those genres that require commentary. This, in fact, is one of those. Many of you all know that Russell Wilson is married to Sierra. Sierra, prior to marrying Russell Wilson, was, well, I don't know if she was married, but she had a baby by a rapper who goes by the name of Future. Now, I'll be totally honest, if you played a Future song to me right now, I couldn't tell you that was him. All right? So I don't have a dog in the hunt. I'm not trying to defend Future. I'm not in love with Future's music. I don't really know who the hell he is. I just know he's a musician. Okay? I also know that he's got like 10 babies. All right? So Russell Wilson just received a multi-million-dollar contract, a $65 million signing bonus, and I think it's over $140 million. It's the highest paid contract, even more than Tom Brady. Okay? And last week he and Sierra was laying in bed and smooching about the contract, and it was kind of disgusting. Okay? But, people do what they want to do. But then Russell Wilson comes out and basically tells Future that they don't need him to pay child support anymore. He calls Future's son his son, and he tells him he don't have to pay child support anymore. They don't need his little coins, and I'm quoting here. And it just offended me. And that told me a lot about Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, and look, I'm not surprised because anybody who plays professional sports, there is an air of arrogance with them. Trust me, I've covered them. I've been with them up close and to the point. I've watched how fans just fawn over these guys. Okay? So I don't have a problem with them being arrogant. But every now and then, people get out of line, and Russell Wilson has gotten out of line. Because number one, you are doing nothing more than participating in parental alienation. Now, I read the definition of that for you yesterday. If you want to know what it is, get online right now and look up the definition of parental alienation. This is something that happens quite often when it comes to custody issues, and it mainly happens to fathers. And I got a problem when there's another man who is allowing a woman to alienate his child. I don't care how much money you have, Russell Wilson. I don't care how much money you make, Russell Wilson. At the end of the day, Future Jr. is not your child. And you don't have the right to alienate that child from his biological father, even though his father don't have the money that you have. And I'm telling you, it's going to come back to haunt you. It's going to come back to haunt you. And I hope it does. And I hope you're listening, because I tagged Russell Wilson on this post this morning. I want you to hear this, my brother. You've got that woman there. Have your own children with her. But at the end of the day, you are the step parent. Hats off to you for stepping up and being a parent. But a good parent does not run interference for the biological parent. I don't care how much you dislike them. I don't care how much you think you know about the relationship prior to you showing up, because usually there's two sides to both of those stories. Usually. In fact, Not usually, but every time. So Russell Wilson, you are a piece of crap. Good morning, Jackie. How you doing? Good morning, Rosalind, Paul, Isabel. So I just wanted to bring that up and throw it out this morning. We talked a lot about it yesterday. I am going to send Russell Wilson a terse, and he's not going to respond to me. I'm a nobody. He's already shown that, hey, he's better than everybody else. He can lay in bed with his pretty woman. Just got a $65 million signing bonus. He can try to steal another man's child. Hey, he's got the world by the balls, baby. And he's certainly not going to listen to lowly talk show host in Little Rock, Arkansas. But if you are listening, if you do hear this, Russell, you're out of line on this, bro. What you should have been doing is trying to foster a positive relationship between that boy's father and him, even though you're the stepfather. I don't care how much you're paying for. I don't care what type of building you have, house you have. I don't care how many swimming pools you have. At the end of the day, the relationship with the father and son is sacred, and you as another man don't have the right to interfere with that. People have been killed for stuff like that. And I think you're getting into slippery territory, because I'm going to tell you, if you come and try to run interference with me and my son, there's going to be a fight. And I'm not stopping until I win. 855-525-5683 is the number. I hope you all will go out to YouTube and subscribe to my show. And if you have contacts with Russell Wilson, if you are on his Twitter feed, hey, tag him with this, because he's wrong. Have him to call the show, 855-525-5683. Have Mr. $65 million man call the show and defend him playing parental alienation with another man's child. There you go. And see, nobody in sports would want to talk about this. Nobody wants to talk about this, but this is what Russell Wilson is doing. I don't care what type of person Future is. As long as he's not abusing his son. Look, people, here's the one thing that people don't understand when it comes to broken relationships and children are involved. Oftentimes, and I would argue that 90% of the time, when the man and woman break up and there's a child involved, the man wants to he doesn't care about the woman anymore, but he still loves his children. 90% of the time, I would make that argument that although the relationship went bad, most men still love their children. And we should not be running interference when it comes to that, as badly as we need fathers in the lives of our children. And I know what you're saying, Russell Williams. Hey, I got $65 million. I'm a $180 million man, whatever that contract is. Look, we got plenty of money for generations to come. That ain't your money. That ain't Future's money. That ain't Future Junior's money, I mean. He still has an obligation. I don't care if he has 10 children. He has an obligation to take care of his children. And by the way, you women out there who are still having babies by this guy, 10 kids, 21% per kid. I don't know why you're marrying him. I don't know why you're having babies by him. It makes no sense to me. Anyway, 855-525-5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with us. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today as well. Let's see if we can go out here and take another break real fast. Oh, by the way, let's stay with this for just a moment. Let's see what else. Oh, when we come back, let's go ahead and take the break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about Nick Bosa and his hypocrisy. Yeah, we'll do that, among other things. You're listening to the Weekly Sports Magazine. I'm Dynamic Dave on joynetradio.com. All right, welcome back to the show, Black Focus Radio. No, it's not. It's the weekly sports magazine on joinetradio.com. I'm sorry. Hey, I do a lot of stuff, folks. Hey, I do a lot of shows here on this station. Appreciate everybody joining me this morning. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Our guest band today, or our guest group, is Cameo. Right now in the background, if you've got the app downloaded from joinetradio.com, you'll be hearing Back and Forth with Cameo. So I hope everybody's checking it out. Appreciate you everybody enjoying the show. We started off the show talking a little bit about Russell Wilson and his act of parental alienation that's taken place with Future's son. Now, as I told you earlier, I am not trying to defend Future, but when you are running interference with someone else's child, because you are now dating that person, that parent, you're a piece of crap to me. Because the story that she may be telling you is probably not the story that how things really happen, or vice versa. The story that he may be telling you is in all likelihood not how it really happened. There's two sides to every story. And the best thing a step-parent can do is be neutral. Be supportive, but be neutral. Okay? That's how I feel about it. Also, in the NFL draft, Nick Bosa was taken number 2 overall in the draft. And you said, well, why is that significant? Well, it's significant because Nick Bosa is a racist. Let me say that again. I don't mince words. When I see it, I call it. I'm not going to say that he has conservative views or he has right-wing talking points. I'm going to call it like I see it. And let me just say it again, just in case you all didn't hear me or understand. Nick Bosa is a racist. Yes, he is. Okay? Now, why am I saying that? You all do understand that Nick Bosa, the racist Nick Bosa, doesn't like gay people. Y'all know that? You all do understand that Nick Bosa hated Colin Kaepernick. Y'all get that, right? Next hour, we're going to talk a little bit about the irony of Nick Bosa in the league and how so it's okay to have a racist in the league, but it's not okay to have a guy who's standing up for justice and against police brutality. But it's okay to have a racist in the league. According to Yahoo Sports, Nick Bosa has pulled a hamstring and he may not be able to play this season because he's backpedaling. Okay? Let me see if I can pull up some of those deleted tweets that he has. Okay? By the way, his hashtag is at NBS smaller, or at NB smaller bear. That's his account, if you follow him on Twitter. He says, I might end up in San Francisco. Bosa brought attention to his Twitter feed with opinions like, Beyonce's music is complete trash. Don't really care. You don't have to like her music. He also posted, Colin Kaepernick is a clown. Black Panther, worst Marvel movie of all time. Really? And tweets in support of Donald Trump. Now, you're saying, well, how could he be racist, Dave? See, racists have a pattern. They dance around issues, but their issues are all the same. So it's okay that you don't like Beyonce's music. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I'm not a big fan of her music either. Okay? She's okay. This love that everybody, this beehive, I hope y'all don't attack me. I don't get it. But I'm old school. I remember people who made real music, like Prince. But his attacks are against one group, black people. Beyonce's music. Colin Kaepernick's a clown. Black Panther. He's a closet racist. By the way, he's deleted those tweets. Why? He says, I had to. There's a chance I might end up in San Francisco. That's Nick Bosa. So why would Colin Kaepernick be a clown? So you think, Nick Bosa, that it's okay for police to kill innocent people, innocent American people? Okay? You think that's okay? So you think Colin Kaepernick is a clown because he's standing up for the lives of innocent people? Now Bosa has come out and says, when asked on his social media history, Bosa said he's eager to grow as a person. I don't think there's any city that can help you grow like this one, that being San Francisco. Okay? I definitely made some insensitive decisions throughout my life, and I'm just excited to be here and clean the slate. I'm sorry if I hurt anyone. Okay, let me stop you. Whenever they offer an apology where they say, I'm sorry if, anytime you hear that qualifier, that's not an apology, people. And they're not sorry. It's like, hey, if I hurt your feelings, I'm sorry for you. But I'm not really sorry for what I did. I'm not really sorry for what I said. Okay? Here's the 49er Nation. See, and here's what makes me sick about fans. You can have the most incorrigible person, but as long as he's playing for your team, because we're going to talk about Kansas City here in a moment, but as long as he's playing for your team, he's okay. He's our guy. Remember Ray Lewis? Remember how Ray, you know, y'all remember Ray, right? We still hadn't found the truth about that murder. Ray was there. But, you know, Baltimore loved him because he played for Baltimore. Tyreek Hill for the Kansas City Chiefs. Horrible audio comes out about him because, you know, Tyreek Hill is under investigation for breaking a 3-year-old's arm. This is your NFL. See, these types of guys are okay to be in the NFL, but someone like with the character of Colin Kaepernick, you ban him. Tyreek Hill allegedly broke the arm of his 3-year-old son. This is the same son that while he was in the womb, Tyreek Hill allegedly punched his then girlfriend in the stomach. And he comes out on the video, and I'm not going to even play the video because it's so horrific. He's talking to his girlfriend, and they're basically trying to figure out some way to cover this story. And she basically says, well, he's terrified of you. And he goes and says, hey, you should be too. This is Tyreek Hill. This is a guy that's in the league. But you know what? I listen to a lot of national sports talk shows, and I was listening to one yesterday afternoon, and it was amazing. It was simply amazing how so many Kansas City fans were trying to justify Tyreek Hill. It makes no sense. So now San Francisco fans, because now that Nick Bosa is a San Francisco 49er, now it's okay. Here's what the Niners Nation says. Nick Bosa on his calm demeanor. I'm definitely monotone and quiet, but when I get on the field, I'll take some of that aggression out. Bosa's selection and the backlash surrounding it has set off political debates with conservative pundits such as Tommy Lauren and Brent McHenry chiming in. It is a tricky situation for a 21-year-old. Don't say he's a boy. He knows what he's saying and he knows what he did. And Nick Bosa is our Saturday morning piece of crap. Because it's going to be interesting to see how you matriculate in San Francisco, bro. San Francisco is the real deal. I mean, you've got gay people everywhere. Unfortunately, you're not going to run into many black people unless you go into Oakland, because the cost of living is so high in San Francisco that I read a story last week that many of the black families are moving out of the city. But you're going to run into a whole lot of lesbian and homosexual people. It's going to be interesting to see how you're going to react. And you know what else? They are going to confront you. Gay and lesbian people, the LGBTQ community, is the most in-your-face community that there can be. And I'm telling you, Nick Bosa, I'm just hoping somebody has a camera when they take your ass to task, because it's gonna happen. I'm looking forward to it. Okay? Now, he gives an awkward response when questioned by a reporter about Colin Kaepernick. Okay? It's really awkward. Let's see if we can play this. Let's see if we can. I'm gonna have to mute some things here, so just a moment. If we can play it, because I'm on a different machine, but we'll try to play it here in just a moment. But he gives an awkward response when he's asked about Colin Kaepernick. Okay. See, this is what I tell young people, is that, folks, your tweets will come back to haunt you. Okay? Your tweets will come back to haunt you if you're not careful. Yes, they will. And that's what's happening to Mr. Bosa right now. You know, it's easy to be Billy Badass behind that keyboard. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to be a keyboard ninja. I mean, you get on Facebook and all the social media and you cuss everybody out and you dog people out. That's easy. You know what I'm saying? But when you got to face these people in person, it changes the dynamics a little bit, doesn't it, Nick Bosa? Nick the racist Bosa. When you gotta stand in front of people and say what you say, make those homophobic slurs and the racist comments, it changes the dynamic a little bit, doesn't it? And our buddy Mr. Nick is getting his comeuppance. And I'm enjoying it. And I hope it's more. I hope the people of San Francisco doesn't give this guy a pass.
And as a black man who is giving a voice to people who don't have a voice, do you still feel that same way?
No, it wasn't directed towards that. It's not like I'm saying his stance and what he was doing. It's not what I was calling or talking about at all. It was just me specific thing that happened, and me as a young kid, a thought popping in my head, and boom, decided to tweet it out. Bad decision. I mean, I respect what he's done. If it empowers anybody, then he's doing good things. So, yeah, I apologize for that.
Did y'all get that? Did y'all get that? I'm just wondering, did y'all get that? I'm going to play this again. This is Nick Bosa. He called Colin Kaepernick a clown, and he was asked by a black reporter, what you thinking about now, dog? Because that's basically what he's doing. And what's more comical than anything in this response is, and you got to go out, and this article is posted on my wall, on the Weekly Sports Magazine's wall. You got to go out and look at his body language. You can always tell when someone has gotten themselves in hot water. They get the pee seat, the squirming pee dance. You know what I'm saying? I gotta, they squirming in their seat. I gotta play this again. This is classic. This is classic. Let's see if we can play this again. Hang on a minute. Let's play it again.
You call him a clown. And as a black man who is giving a voice to people who don't have a voice, do you still feel that same way?
No, it wasn't directed towards that. It's not like I'm saying his stance and what he was doing. It's not what I was calling or talking about at all. It was just me, a specific thing that happened, and me as a young kid, a thought popping in my head, and boom, decided to tweet it out. Bad decision. I mean, I respect what he's done. If it empowers anybody, then he's doing a good thing. So, yeah, I apologize for that.
That's the racist Nick Bosa, who was drafted number 2 in the NFL. The irony is that that's the same team Colin Kaepernick used to play for. Hey, we got to go out and take a break, y'all. Okay? We'll be back in a moment on the other side to talk a little bit about the NFL and its hypocrisy. 855-525-5683. That's the first hour down. It's one to go. I'm Dave Coleman. You're listening to the Weekly Sports Magazine on JoyNetRadio.com.
Pigskin, check. Round ball, check. Hard ball, check. Hockey puck, check. Burning rubber, check. We got it all on the Weekly Sports page with David Coleman. What else do you need? Did I say food? Can't have sports without food. What kind of show is this again?
A sports show.
Oh, okay. Pass me those wristbands.
Yeah, we do have it all, and a whole lot more with me, Dynamic David Coleman, on the Weekly Sports Magazine.
It's time for the Weekly Sports page with the dynamic David Coleman. Stay tuned for thrills, chills, and yes, spills. Oh yeah, and a whole lot of other great stuff. Call 855-525-5683. Tweet your questions at Dynamic Sports PA or Facebook. Drop a line on Dynamic Weekly Sports Show. Sit back, relax, and groove while Dynamic drops sports in your ear hole. Now here's dynamic David Coleman.
right, welcome back to the second hour of the show. Weekly Sports Magazine on joinnedradio.com. By the way, I do want to talk a little bit. I went out to Forest Heights last night here in Little Rock. Many of you I know who are not from the area don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but just hang with me for a moment. By the way, yesterday's Little Rock Central had a jamboree, and I sponsored some of the teams to come in. They are having their spring game in 2 weeks. We're planning to get the head football coach for the Little Rock Central Tigers on next Saturday. Talk a little bit about Central. Yeah, we're gonna. Our ultimate goal is to broadcast Little Rock Central across this, at least across the city. Okay, we're gonna figure that out somehow or another. But in the meantime, went over to Scott Field. Y'all, it's Forest Heights. Spent a lot of time over there in my youth running track. And, of course, Sam and I went, and both of us participated and ran track. And both of us grew up around the track meets that took place at Scott Field. I mean, Friday nights, this time of the year, when there was a track meet, I mean, that was the place to go. That was the place to be. It was like a football game in the spring. We would be over there, and I mean, the stands would be packed. People would be running their tails off, all of that stuff. So we went last night. It was it wasn't the state meet. I believe it was it was the conference championships. And there were hardly anybody there. And I think both he and I were disappointed because this was the first time since I had moved back to the area that I had been to Scott Field. Okay? And I went in a way trying to hoping that I'd see some friends. And I did see some old friends. I got to see Coach Stan Williams last night. Good to see him. Stan, the man. But more importantly, I was hoping to just be able to reminisce about the days of yore when we ran track and the crowds. And, you know, we were sitting there watching the 200 meters, and Sam and I remarked that it's amazing that back then, when they would come out of that curve, there was a collective woo, or when somebody was passing someone, woo. I mean, it was a collective group of people that always did that, and you got none of that last night. So after the 200 meters, we ended up going fishing. But it was nice to go over, but I was a little disappointed in the lack of participation. And as I talked to Coach Williams, who's a friend of mine and a family friend, one of the things he informed me is that part of the problem is athletics today is so segmented. And what he means, and what that means is, if I've got a kid who plays football and I'm the coach, I don't want him to play any other sports. If I've got a kid who's playing basketball, I don't want him to play any other sports. Now, let me tell you, from a person who has played sports, a person who's coached some sports, some baseball teams, and a person who's covered sports. In fact, sports has been a significant part of my life. When I was growing up, I played every sport there was imagining, that could be imagined. Every sport that could be imagined, I played it. I played football, I played baseball, I played basketball. We even tried our hands at soccer. We tried our hands at hockey, ice skating, roller skating, you name it. Horseshoes. It didn't matter. Because here's one thing that you all don't understand about sports, and it boggles my mind that coaches don't get this. Those guys or those players who are multiple sports players are better sports players. Let me say this again, and real coaches will tell you that. Real coaches will say, I want a kid who plays football and runs track. I want a kid who plays basketball and plays baseball. But for whatever reasons today, this mentality is that a kid can only play one sport and be good at it. That's a bunch of crap, folks. And if a coach is telling you that, I'm going to say it right here. He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Because if that was true, think about prior to the last 15 years when AAU took over. Most every kid played multiple sports. And how is it that many of these kids became superstars? How is it that many of these kids became icons in their respective sports? If your logic stands true, if it holds true, then you're saying that if a kid plays another sport other than the sport that he's supposed to be specializing in, then he's not going to be successful? That's almost like saying, hey, well, you can't study because you got to concentrate on basketball. No, you can't study biology. And maybe that's what they're saying to our children. Is that, hey, if you really want to study, then you can't play sports. Remember the article I read a while back? Oh, no, it was the story I told you about Dr. Boyce Watkins. Remember that? Remember what Dr. Watkins said, that he was a tutor at the University of Kentucky? And he was tutoring one of the football players, and he realized that the young man was pretty damn smart, but he was taking these sorry courses. And he asked the guy, why is he taking courses? He said, the guy came to college wanting to be an engineer. But the coaches told him that if he chose that major, then he's probably not going to be able to play football, or he's going to lose his position. So he backed off of the major that he wanted to participate in for a dumber major, which in all likelihood, if he graduates or when he graduates, he's not going to be able to get a job. So maybe that is what coaches are telling our kids today, is that, hey, you play this sport, don't worry about studying, don't worry about getting your grades, because you can't handle multiple things at one time. So when coaches tell a kid that, hey, you can't play basketball and football, or you can't play basketball and baseball, or you can't play basketball and soccer, because it takes you away from the discipline sport, I don't know if I want him to be my coach. So next Saturday, I'm going to ask Coach about this, because it just seems peculiar to me. I want my kid to be able to experience everything and let him make the choice. He might be a great football player, but if he wants to play soccer, if that's the sport that he loves, then guess what? I'm going to let him play soccer, or whatever the case may be. And that's the way it should be. It's kind of like these coaches now saying, I have to get kids that fit my scheme. See, my thing is, a coach can coach any kid. A coach can take an average kid who he can see in that kid that this kid can play. He's not that polished, but he can play. So I'm going to put him at this position. And the kid excels. The coach doesn't say, oh, well, this kid doesn't fit my scheme, so I don't want him on my team. He doesn't say that. But today's coaches are like that. I've got to have a certain player to fit my scheme for me to be successful. I can't take butter, flour, eggs, and make pasta or biscuits. I have to have them ready-made. And maybe that's the problem with our coachings today. Now, we've got some pretty darn good coaches, but to me, this is just me, the best coach will take a kid and put that kid in a position to be successful and would eventually help the team. That's the best type of coach that I'm aware of. I'm not aware of any other types. Yeah, we are. We see them all the time on TV. I'm kidding. We see them all the time on TV. When you hear a coach say, well, I've got to get kids to fit my scheme, that's not a good coach. Now, certainly you have a philosophy that you go by, that you stand by. I understand that. But if you are a run and gun team, you're telling me that 6'10", that 6'11" center that's growing up in your neighborhood, you're not going to recruit him and find a way to get him on your team? If you're telling me that 350-pound kid who is not athletic, who want to try to play, you telling me that there is no way you're going to try to get him on your team to do something? If nothing more, if he can't run, put him in for goal line defense. Put him at nose guard for goal line defense and let him play nose guard. He ain't got to run there or he's got to just plug up the hole. That's good coaching to me. Now, I don't know what y'all call good coaching, but a coach that tells a kid who wants to segment them off and keep him from participating in other sports, that's not a good coach to me. And I brought this up because, like I said, I went to the track meet last night. And I'm going to be honest, some of those guys, look, no offense to the kids that were running, some of those kids didn't look like athletes. There was one kid who ran the quarter. Now, if this is the district meet, the conference championships, man, don't you want to win? One kid ran the quarter, and he got about the 200 mark, and he basically just jogged in the rest of the way. Didn't even really try to finish. See, back in the day when I had coaches, you'd have been ran off the track. In fact, you'd have never even gotten on the track in the first place to embarrass that school. But I guess this is the time we live in. But in talking to Coach Stan last night, he said, and he even brought it, he said, Dave, this ain't like it was when you all were back here. I said, no, Coach, it's not. And he began to tell me, he said, see, part of the problem is that the best athletes, they play one sport. Their coaches tell them not to go and play. They don't tell them to go. Look, if you are an athlete, period, you ought to be running track. If you are an athlete, period, you ought to be running track. Here's why. There is no other sport that's going to get you in shape like track and field. So if nothing else, let's say, for instance, you are a running back, or it doesn't matter, whatever position that you're playing, you ought to go out for track because that's going to get you in tip-top shape. That's part of the reason that I was always in shape. I ran track. I rode my bicycle a lot in the off season. That's what you ought to do. But you have coaches telling kids, oh no, son, you're not going out for track. Makes no sense to me. It just doesn't. And maybe that's why athletes are suffering. In a tiny state like Arkansas, these kids ought to be going out for everything. Everything. 855-525-5683 is the number. We got to go out and take a quick break. We'll be back in a moment. You're listening to the Weekly Sports Magazine on JoyNetRadio.com.
Danielle Walker from the Walker Law Firm. Are you drowning in debt? Is your debt becoming unmanageable? Are you struggling to make ends meet? It might be time to consider bankruptcy options. Call me at 501-374-1448 and let me provide you with the professional legal guidance and help protect you from foreclosure, harassing bill collectors, repossession, wage garnishments, and more. I have a proven record of serving clients just like you for over 20 years. I'm conveniently located downtown Little Rock at 323 Center Street, Suite 1020. Call today for a free, no obligation consultation at 501-374-1448, 501-374-1448, 501-374-1448. This is attorney Danielle Walker from the Walker Law Firm, and let me help you.
Mitchell Funeral Home welcomes all of Arkadelphia and Arkansas in Clark County since 1966. At Mitchell Funeral Home, they understand that the funeral is a celebration of life and legacy, so the entire staff takes great pride in the caring, personal, and professional services they provide. Cremations, funeral planning, burial policy, life insurance, notary, and monument sales are just a few of the services they offer. Flexible packages are available as well. Mitchell Funeral Home appreciates the trust and confidence placed in them and will continue to enhance their services so as to serve you better. Call now. Get connected. 870-246-2611. That's 870-246-2611. Call, click, or come by. MitchellFuneralServices.com. Don't wait till we're needed. Call us now. Let's walk through this together. 870-246-2611. It's quality you can appreciate and service you can depend on at Mitchell Funeral Home.
Fill your home for the holidays with Bedrock Mattress and More. Bundle and save for every room in your home. Package deals just in time for the holidays. Our first bundle starting at $598. Perfect for a dorm room. Bundle deal 2, only $15.99. Enough to fill your first apartment. And fill your home with our third bundle starting at only $24.99. Come get these deals while they last. Special pricing going on now through the end of the year. Celebrate this holiday season with something new from Bedrock Mattress and More. 3901 South University in Little Rock.
Hi, I'm attorney Theodore Thompson from the Thompson Law Firm, and I want to help with your legal matters. Whether it's criminal defense, bankruptcy, personal injury, or family law, I want to help you. I can be reached at 501-503-5095. Don't face your legal issues alone. You need an attorney whose primary objective is to provide you with the best legal representation. Our office address is 415 North McKinley, Suite 710 in Little Rock. I'm attorney Theodore Thompson, and I want to provide you with the best legal representation.
All right, welcome back to the show, the weekly sports magazine. Hey, coming up at 10 here, Real Talk, Real Money. We'll talk real money. No, it's real talk, real money. Silly Wabbit with David Ashley. He'll be in here in just a moment. Talk a little money. Talk about how you can get your kid to college. Which reminds me, I mean, are y'all spending all that money sending your child to college? You all know that you can send your child to a trade school, and in 2 years they could be making $50,000 to $80,000 a year, depending on what trade they go to, right? And they will not be $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 in debt after school. Just word to the wise. Hey, Kathy, sis, how you doing? Jackie Wilson, Alan McKinley, how you doing? Appreciate you joining. But you know, we were talking before the break about why athletes or coaches don't like kids playing sports, other sports. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Over the years, the best athletes are the two-sport athletes. Kyler Murray is a classic example of that. He played baseball and he played football. It doesn't make any sense to me. Greg Thomas says it's complicated, but not so complicated. Today's coaches do not like sharing the athletes. They have decided that they need them both in season and in the off season, which is stupid to me. Not you, Greg, but if that's their comment, if that's what they're saying, that is the dumbest stuff I've ever heard in my life. But Maybe coaches today are rivals. Maybe coaches today don't like one another. Because I remember, let's see, Coach Cox, when I played at Little Rock Central, was the football coach. Coach Horton was the track coach. And Coach Boone was the basketball coach. Both of them, Coach Horton was the offensive line coach for the football team. Coach Boone was the defensive backs coach for the basketball team. For the football team. Coach Isom, he was the discus and what else? Field events coach, but he also coached defense. So all of these coaches knew these kids. If you ran track or did some other sport after the fact, then all of those coaches, you just transitioned. As a matter of fact, whatever other sport you were playing, quite oftentimes that coach would be giving you pointers on, okay, this will help you in basketball, or this will help you in football. I remember playing American Legion because I played baseball up until, I want to say I was 17 years old. In fact, the summer of my senior year, I played American Legion baseball. I had played baseball all my life. I'm going to be honest, in retrospect, baseball was probably my best sport. I was damn good in baseball. Played catcher and third base, had a big stick, stole bases. I was a bad boy back in the day. Started playing for St. Francis House out at Lamar Porter Field. No, St. Francis House out at MacArthur Park. Then I went out to Lamar Porter Field and played for Quinn Moore Oil Company in Little League. I was the best player on a terrible team. I was the only player that made All-Star on that particular team, the All-Star team. Then I graduated to Pony League and played for Stevens Incorporated. Yes, that's Stevens Incorporated. And then after Pony League, I went to American Legion and played for Coleman Dairy over at Kern Conway, which is currently the field where the University of Little Rock has what is it, Hogue Field? What made me stop playing baseball is that we had a coach who was biased. This particular coach, he claimed that people who played football were not quick enough to play baseball. Well, look, hell, I was a catcher. I was third base. I played the hot corner. I was damn quick. So he didn't like the fact that I played football. Now here I was, a potential all-state football player, which I ultimately ended up being. He didn't like the fact that I played, and by the way, back then, we didn't have baseball at Little Rock Central. This was a third-party baseball team. That's how it used to be back in the day here. So he ended up putting me in the outfield. I think I've told the story where, by the way, this particular coach was pretty racist as well. He ended up sitting all the black players on the bench one day while we was in North Little Rock. That was the day I quit. But that particular coach believed that if you played baseball and basketball because you dribbled the ball, allegedly you had quicker hands, so that made you a better baseball player. It's amazing some of the dumb reasoning these coaches come up with. Have no basis in fact whatsoever. They're just stupid reasonings. But I would argue, and I'm going to tell you parents, don't allow coaches to pigeonhole your child. Don't allow that to happen. Allow your child to play multiple sports. Allow your child to, if roller skate, ice skate, you name it, all of it works on their coordination, their confidence. You find that those kids that play multiple sports are highly confident. So we're going to talk to Coach about that next week. because that makes no sense to me. But I say all that because I did enjoy going over to Scott Field last night for a moment. It just, I mean, I bet it wasn't 100 people there for that conference meet. And the majority of them were the participants. And that's sad. But then again, this is what privatizing schools and charter schools has done to athletics in this state. And those of you who are participating in athletics, or those of you who make a living off of athletics in this state, now you understand why there aren't any great players coming out of this state anymore. And all I hear is, well, everybody's going to basketball now. It's weird. Anyway, 855-525-5683 is the number. It's just strange goings on to me. Maybe I'm getting old. Maybe I'm about to die. I'm reminiscing too much. I don't know. This is crazy, man. Some things ought to be natural. Some things ought to be a given. And a kid participating in sports, regardless, shouldn't matter. It shouldn't, but it does. 855-525-5683. Oh, old bottles of my rib juice just popped up on my wall. Oh man, I think I might be doing some grilling this weekend. I'm thinking about it. Now, we talked about a little bit, oh, by the way, hats off to the Virginia basketball squad. You know, Virginia was the first team in the history of the NCAA to lose to a 16 seed, the 16-1. It had never happened. That's why you always say never. Because as soon as you utter that word, you're going to get slapped in the face. So Virginia, 2 years ago, they were the number 1 seed. They lost to a 16 seed. This year, I don't know if you can redeem yourself, but they went and won the national championship. And you know, when you win, you're invited to the White House. And many of the teams that are predominantly black have declined going to visit the White House who has a racist in the White House. Y'all know who he is. His name is Donald Trump. So the Virginia Cavaliers announced they will not be visiting the White House. And head coach Tony Bennett, on his Twitter account, made an announcement, or at least issued this statement. We have received inquiries about a visit to the White House, with several players either pursuing pro opportunities or moving on from UVA. It would be difficult, if not impossible, to get everyone back together. We would have to respectfully decline the invitation. That's Tony Bennett. That's just a nice way to say, and by the way, they got a lot of white boys on this team too. But that's just a nice way to say, kiss my grits. We're not coming up to the White House to eat hamburgers. And you can gloat around black players. So hats off to the Virginia Cavaliers for making a stand. Look, if those kids wanted to go to the White House, they'd go. I ain't mad at you either. Good for you, Tony Bennett. Also, Lindsey Hunter has been named the head basketball coach for Mississippi Valley State. NCAA denies waiver for a former Coastal Carolina lineman who wants to transfer to be with his ailing mother. Huh? Brock Hoffman, according to his Twitter page, said the NCAA has denied his medical hardship waiver to transfer to Virginia Tech. Hoffman wants to be closer to his mother, who is recovering after having surgery to remove a brain tumor. Hoffman made a pretty convincing argument on Twitter. Now, the argument that he posts on Twitter is a picture of his mother's skull, an x-ray, showing the brain tumor. The other argument that he makes is he shows his mother asleep in the hospital, the side of her head where they went in and did the surgery, stapled up. Now, I'm wondering, with that being said, how is it that the NCAA can deny this? Now, if you remember, the NCAA, they granted Ohio State quarterback Tate Martell immediate eligibility in Miami. But here's a kid whose mother just had brain surgery. He wants to move closer to be with his mom. And the NCAA denies that? All right. So for the rest of the show, we got some more NCAA stuff because, I got to go in on there. I'll tell you what, let's go out and take another break. When we come back, I've got some other NCAA stories, and this is about payola. In fact, we're going to wrap this show up about payola because there are a whole lot of people making money off of black players except the black players. And apparently now, y'all heard about this college basketball bribery scandal, right? Well, apparently that money was getting to some Alabama football players too. The dickens you say. Say is not so. My argument is that the only way you're going to stop this money is you're going to have to pay these players. We'll be back in a moment. You're listening to the Weekly Sports Magazine. I'm Dynamic Dave on JoyNetRadio.com.
It's coming to Little Rock, the new way to travel. Want to get paid to travel, be your own boss, have zero overhead, offer travel in all 50 states and countries all over the world, work at your own pace and schedule? Get trained, get paid to travel. Want to learn more? Text travel to 501-588-8838 to get your registration link, and we'll see you Saturday, April 27th at the Hilton Gardens Inn in West Little Rock. Text travel to 501-588-8838 now.
Fill your home for the holidays with Bedrock Mattress and More. Bundle and save for every room in your home. Package deals just in time for the holidays. Our first bundle starting at $598. Perfect for a dorm room. Bundle deal 2, only $15.99. Enough to fill your first apartment. And fill your home with our third bundle starting at only $24.99. Come get these deals while they last. Special pricing going on now through the end of the year. Celebrate this holiday season with something new from Bedrock Mattress and More. 3901 South University in Little Rock.
Check out our new arrivals at Buckle Furniture Depot. Sofas, sectional, bedroom sets, pump sets, as well as home appliances now.
You get finance! You get finance! Everyone gets a finance!
No credit check plan with 90-day savings cash. Make Buckle Furniture Depot your one-stop shop. Call 562-8333 for the rest.
Who done it? The butler done it. Buckle Furniture Depot.
I'm so glad I found a Kick Above. It's like my very own personal training studio. A Kick Above removed the guesswork and intimidation and offered me a very supportive and structured environment specific to my personal goals. Kim Leverett and her certified personal trainers even offered nutritional guidelines for my personal workout. It's about me at a Kick Above. Call 501-868-8850 or go to akickabove.com. Now, what am I wearing tonight? Thanks to a Kick Above, I look marvelous.
Mitchell Funeral Home welcomes all of Arkadelphia and Arkansas in Clark County since 1966. At Mitchell Funeral Home, they understand that the funeral is a celebration of life and legacy, so the entire staff takes great pride in the caring, personal, and professional services they provide. Cremations, funeral planning, burial policy, life insurance, notary, and monument sales are just a few of the services they offer. Flexible packages are available as well. Mitchell Funeral Home appreciates the trust and confidence placed in them and will continue to enhance their services. so as to serve you better. Call now. Get connected. 870-246-2611. That's 870-246-2611. Call, click, or come by. MitchellFuneralServices.com. Don't wait till we're needed. Call us now. Let's walk through this together. 870-246-2611. It's quality you can appreciate and service you can depend on. At Mitchell Funeral.
All right, welcome back to the show. About 20 minutes to go in the show. You can call me up at 855-525-5683 is the number. Appreciate everybody joining me. I've had a lot of people dipping in and dipping out on the feeds. Of course, I'm streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. We've actually got the YouTube video on Twitter. So you all can go out and check that out. Of course, you can go out to YouTube. Just search Weekly Sports Magazine. It'll pop up. You can also go out and get some of the old shows that are out there too if you want. This is how we'll be doing it from here on out. Now that, you'll see more, and I like the applet that I have for my Weekly Sports Magazine. We're going to be creating one for Black Focus Radio over the next couple of days. I'm trying to decide what I want to do. But we're going to be creating one for that. We already got one, but I don't like it. It was a test. So we're going to create another one. How about that? 855-525-5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with me. Before we went to break, we began to touch on just a little bit the scandal, which is college basketball. These players, these coaches are making millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. And what we're beginning to understand is that some of that money is beginning to seep over to players. So currently going on right now, there was this college basketball bribery scandal in court the other day, on Tuesday. According to federal witness Marty Blazer, he paid thousands of dollars to football players from a number of schools. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let me reread that. Wait a minute. Let me go back up here. CBB usually means college basketball. So Marty Blazer said he paid thousands of dollars to football players from a number of schools. So Marty Blazer is one of the federal witnesses. Let me say that again. He paid thousands of dollars to football players from a number of schools. According to Adam Zagoria of the New York Times, Alabama was on the list of schools implicated by Blazer. Okay? Today, from the college basketball bribery trial, Adam Zagoria is covering it. Government witness Marty Blazer said between 2010 and 2014, he paid from several hundred to several $1,000s to football players from, get this, Pittsburgh, Penn State, Michigan, Notre Dame, Northwestern, North Carolina, and Alabama. Oh no, not the Tide. The Tide ain't cheating. Per Dan Wetzel, Blazer claims the transactions came between 2000 and 2013. College basketball fraud trial took an unexpected turn to college football, including Joe Paterno's Penn State program. Former financial advisor Marty Blazer, testifying for government, said in 2009 he had an NFL player as a client whose father was a Penn State assistant. Said the assistant asked him to pay a Penn State player's father $10,000 so the player would stay at Penn State and not enter the NFL draft. Blazer said he did it. Wetzel goes on. Blazer said the player wound up entering the 2009 draft anyway and was the 11th pick overall. The father repaid the $10,000. Old news, but an assistant arranging for such a deal would be a major violation at a program that took pride in complete NCAA compliance. Blazer also testified that between 2000 and 2013, he paid football players at Notre Dame, Penn State, Pittsburgh, Michigan, Alabama, and North Carolina in hopes that he would become their financial advisor. Now, you say, that's not a big deal. There are other stories to this, folks. Let's see here. These might be the same. Yeah. So you might say, it's not a big deal, right? Is that what you're saying? Look, I'm going to be totally honest with you. It's not a big deal to me either. As long as those kids got some money. I'm going to be honest with you. As long as those kids got some cash, I don't care if they are being paid. I'm just going to be real with you. I don't care. You can give them $1 million under the table. I don't care. If Zion Williamson, because apparently his name has come up. Let me get to this other story. Because this is another part of the story. College basketball corruption trial. Wiretaps show payments wanted to recruit Zion Williamson and Marvin Bagley III. A lavish suite adjacent to the famed Fountains of Bellagio, right on the Las Vegas Strip, sapphire blue mood lighting, setting the scene with lounge chairs to complete the vibe, and a concealed camera to capture it all. The smooth but sticky, slick yet grubby essence of college basketball recruiting was seen for hours on Thursday on the 23rd floor inside the Monahan United States Courthouse. The most explosive day yet. Brought about allegations on top of allegations, looping the biggest schools and coaches in the sport, and yes, once again, Zion Williamson. Federal prosecutors continue to show video wiretaps, some conversations that included multiple separate meetups with assistant coaches along with key government cooperating witness Marty Blazer and aspiring sports agent Kristen Dawkins, who was convicted in the first corruption trial in the suite inside the glitzy, faddish cosmopolitan of Las Vegas. Assistant basketball coaches for USC, Tony Bland, Creighton, Preston Murphy, and Texas Christian, Corey Barker, all donning team gear, all stealing time away from when they were supposed to be at a tournament and recruiting, all unaware of what they were being caught doing, were shown accepting cash payments, $13,000, $6,000, $6,000 respectively. The video was buttressed by testimony from Blazer, who was in the suite when the money swapped hands. Blazer also testified that Lamont Evans, who was at Oklahoma State at the time, was delivered $4,500 on his trip to Las Vegas. They're all cheaters, the whole effing staff, Dawkins said of Jamie Dixon's program on one of the videos. Tony Bland needed money to get Marvin Bagley III. Blazer said from the stand. Blazer has cooperated with the government. Okay, he was going to UCLA or go to Duke, Blazer said of the discussion regarding Bagley's recruitment at that point. Tony was confident he had Bagley locked up at USC. When Bagley signs with USC, I need you guys on campus the moment he signs to be ready to get to him ASAP. The video captures Bland saying Bagley's recruitment and potential working relationship with Dawkins and Blazer, they're not going anywhere. If he's at USC, you will meet him the first day on campus. This is the type of dude that you get him, everybody will follow. Now this story goes on and on. And see, Smith discusses the recruitment. Dawkins interject. Duke is going to have the resources. UNC is UNC. Kentucky is going to have the resources. So basically what we're reading here, and this recap of what happened on Tuesday, is that these guys were bargaining as to where these kids were going. Okay? Now, I'm going to say it again. I said it before, and I'm going to say it again, that I don't care if these kids get money. Okay? At this point, I no longer care if these kids get money. Because when you're John Calipari and you're making $9 million a year plus incentives, which your contract is probably about $11 or $12 million, when you are Nick Saban and you're making $9 million a year and your contract with kick-ins is probably about 13 to 14 million, and these kids, and you're making that money because of the kids that you are coaching, and these kids can't get anything, and the only thing you can do is build them a better facility? Really? I wish every one of these kids, I wish every one of them would take money. I wish every kid that goes to college needs to take money. In fact, you as a parent ought to be saying, hey, look, what you going to do for my kids? You want me to go to that school? I need some dead presidents. Now, I know you think I'm crazy, but I've had enough of this charade of the NCAA. I've had enough. This tournament, this basketball tournament that you all just watched, earned the NCAA $1 billion. And you know what? Next year is going to earn the NCAA another $1 billion. And until 2032, it will earn the NCAA $1 billion every year until 2032. And you tell me that these kids don't deserve to be paid. You tell me that these kids don't deserve to get any money. You tell me that a kid that had a mother who's just had a brain had a tumor removed from her brain, who has staples all up the side of her neck, and that kid wants to move closer to his mother, and you won't let him? The NCAA is out of line. The NCAA is out of line. And for people to sit back, look, I don't care if it is your team. I don't care if you are an Alabama fan or a Kentucky fan or a Duke fan or an UNC fan. It doesn't matter if you are a fan of that school. What should matter are these athletes. Are they being taken care of? Not like they hoard like they're horses. Not like when you get a nice paddock for a horse and you get him a brand new blanket and you get him some oats and some water and some hay. Because that's basically what colleges are doing now. They're taking care of these kids as if they are animals. Ooh, yeah, I went there. You don't give a damn about their parents. You don't care about their parents or how their parents live. You come into their living rooms and you lie and you say, hey, look, I'm going to make sure Johnny Superstar gets a scholarship and he's going to get a degree. Well, what is he going to get a degree in? Because if he breaks his leg, does he keep his degree? In most cases, he does not. But then when he gets that degree, quite often he can't even use that degree. Remember, I told you the story a few minutes ago about Dr. Boyce Watkins being a tutor at the University of Kentucky and the University of Kentucky football coaches steering a young man who wanted to be an engineer and go into engineering, steering him away from engineering because it would take up too much time and he would lose his scholarship. Well, wait a minute. Isn't he there to get an education? Or is he there to play football? That's what I need to know. 855-525-5683 is the number. I got to go to the door. I'll be back in a moment to wrap this show up, wrap this conversation up. You're listening to the Weekly Sports Magazine on JohnEdRadio.com. Pretty good, pretty good. All right, about to wrap up the show. Real Talk, Real Money is coming up here in just a moment, but I'm just wondering, are your kids going to college to get a degree, or are they going to play sports? Because clearly what's happening now in college sports is that they're not going to get a degree, they're going to play sports. And once their eligibility is over with, colleges are done with them. Look, now the university community, they love it when they come back. Oh, there's Bob Jones. Man, I remember that touchdown that Bob Jones did at homecoming? Oh, what's he doing now? What? He's homeless? What? He's on drugs? Well, you know what they say about them athletes. Y'all don't care. Y'all don't care. And at some point, we in our community have got to stop letting these people prostitute our children for the benefit of themselves. This is nothing but glorified slavery, folks. The NCAA, let me tell you something else. The SEC alone, last year, every SEC school got about $40 million. Let me say that again. Last year alone, in the SEC, the payout that the SEC teams got was about $40 million. That's not unlike some of the other payouts in other conferences. But you can't pay a player. You can't give him a livable wage. These guys are earning more money than the average employee does in Fortune 500 companies. I don't know any company that's making $1 billion a year. Maybe Microsoft. But the NCAA is making $1 billion a year. And you can't pay these players. You can't provide a stipend for them that when there's an emergency that they can go home. You can't provide that they're making sure that they have adequate food on a regular basis. Y'all remember Shabazz Napier, right, who is now playing in the NBA? Shabazz Napier, remember him saying when he was in the tournament a couple of years ago, Shabazz Napier said that there were times him playing for the University of Connecticut, Shabazz Napier, one of the top players in the country at the time, saying that there were times that he went without food. On a college campus, a scholarship player. Man, this whole system needs to be broken down and restarted. That's why, and look, as long as you have this type of money floating around, look, and I'm going to be honest with you, I have a feeling some of these players, some of these guys who are giving this money out to these kids, sure, they want to get a windfall from it, that if you go to this school, I get paid this, that, and the other. But I got a feeling that some of these, and I know there are some coaches who have given money to players. You know why they do it? Because in a real sense of the word, some of these coaches understand the injustice. Some of these coaches realize that, wait a minute, I'm living like a fat cat off the backs of these kids. And these kids can't even take a girl out to dinner. These kids they have to struggle to get money to go home. So I think in some of these cases, and I'm going to be honest, I don't blame them. In some of these cases, I think some of these people are feeling, and they've gotten it now. They're saying, wait a minute, it makes no damn sense that all of this money has been made by us off the backs of them when it is in fact them who creates the money for us to live like us. And I think some of these men are beginning to be concerned. And I think that's why you're seeing more and more of this. I really do. I really do. because this makes no sense whatsoever. Whatsoever. 855-525-5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with me if you want to. Well, the show is about to wrap up. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you'll join us on Monday for Black Focus Radio, noon to 2 p.m., where we talk, we get into more political dialogue about what's going on. We are the only black show here in the state that talk about our issues. Just like we are the only black show here in Little Rock, sports show, that talks about sports issues. We don't talk about entertainment on this show. We'll talk about eating, because eating is a sport now. But we are the only ones that do this. All right, we got to get out of here. I hope you enjoyed the show. I certainly did. And be sure to share, please. Will you share? Will you tell some friends? Will you tell some of your relatives? Will you share every day? You know, I asked the question on my feed this morning when I was up at 3 o'clock in this morning. I had an epiphany. I said, if you are a business owner, why is it that your friends don't support your business? Woo. Are they really your friends? We're going to talk about that next week on Black Focus Radio. All right. All right, we got to get out of here. Hope y'all enjoyed the show. Y'all have a great day. It's called Black Focus Radio on joynetradio.com.
Thanks for listening to the weekly sports page with Dynamic David Coleman.
Nice right. Ice cream. Alert. 654 Jose.
Tune in every Saturday morning from 9 to 10. Until next week.
It's coming to Little Rock, the new way to travel. Want to get paid to travel, be your own boss, have zero overhead, offer travel in all 50 states and countries all over the world, work at your own pace and schedule? Get trained, get paid to travel.
Am I going? I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it.
588-8838 to get your registration link, and we'll see you Saturday, April 27th at the Hilton Gardens Inn in West Little Rock. Text travel to 501-588-8838 now.
Fill your home for the holidays with Bedrock Mattress and More.
Good morning, Facebook. How you doing this morning? We're ready to talk Real Talk Real Money on Joynet Radio in Little Rock, Arkansas, and we are glad that you are in the house already. Thank you so much for checking in. We've got a couple of topics we're going to talk about this morning. Got a little flashback, little splash back, not flashback, splash back on our discussion last Saturday about veterans. So I'm going to share what a couple of my friends said. I don't necessarily agree with them, because I think that if a young man, young woman goes to a war zone, they need to be compensated, period. It doesn't matter if they got hurt, it doesn't matter if it doesn't. So that's my opinion. In my opinion, it's not the opinion of the radio station or anybody else. It's David Asher's opinion. We'll talk about money, so we're going to talk about that this morning. So, our deal is 3827. Get our kids in college, get them freed up, so they got better